And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes. Happy Sunday, I suppose. Look, let's talk about the market in NBA 2K22 My Team. I meant to make a market video earlier this weekend, but I got a little busy dropping videos on Friday, and then I went to see a show last night. So I was a little preoccupied, so I didn't get a chance to actually drop a market video. But it is what it is. I'm here now. Look, I've talked about it in like 3 videos, so I'm going to keep it super short. But for this last day, I would try to get as many of these little egg cards as humanly possible. The reason I say that is 2K doesn't really reward you for just playing the game very often, but this is one of the times that they will reward you for doing so. And it does give you access to some pretty solid rewards in addition to having like at least small amounts of MT in each one of these packs, and you get one for just winning a game. So I would recommend, especially if you're going to play the game, just grind it anyway. If you didn't plan on playing the game, I mean, it's not going to make it or break it where I'd say you need to play right now or anything like that. But, if you grind really hard for a day, I mean, you could probably make 10, 20,000 MT without really trying all that hard, just based on these challenges. I mean, most of the time you're not going to get anything. Most of the time you're going to get like a shoe boost, like a silver shoe boost and like a gold contract. But, you know, even if you get like a ruby or something else, like you're going to come out on top realistically. So let's take a look here. We did get a locker code as well today. The locker code itself was basically just for this Dennis Rodman, not basically, literally just for this Dennis Rodman. So this Dennis Rodman is super duper cheap, and I'll go into a bunch of opals that are cheap right now. The reason I wanted to highlight this set specifically, though, is because the Hunt for Glory camouflage set is really expensive right now. Specifically, Havlicek, who was 8,000 MT the other day, is now inexplicably like almost 60K, which I sold mine for 64K a little bit ago, which is wild. There's one for 55 right here, so you can get a minimum of 55 for a card that sold for 8K the other day. Tony Allen as well is like 15,000, and that's 15,000 more than anyone should ever be paying for Tony Allen, period. Like if Tony Allen was playing this game, he wouldn't pick his own card up for 14K. That's just absolute facts. Dante DiVincenzo and Kirk Heinrich are still relatively cheap. I would still, if you can, pick up Dante DiVincenzo. And the reason I say that is because if you plan on playing limited, they're going to make us use the Central Division, and he is without a doubt going to be the best Ruby Central point guard. Without a doubt, no question about it. Especially if you can get him for like cheap, like 2,500. That's a good price for Dante DiVincenzo on a regular day. If you can get him for lower, obviously, but 2,500 is really, really solid for him. I guarantee he's cheaper on PlayStation, so I would recommend going for that if you can. The only other card in the rest of these that are expensive is Wang. If you have Wang ZZ, you can get a good amount of MT for him. 48,000 is nothing to like sniff at. You know what I mean? That's just fine. OJ Mayo is like 10K. You know, he should not be that priced. You should probably sell him. Stromile Swift, I think, is like 800 MT. He drops out of the little egg packs, so he's not going to be that expensive. Shout out to Jared Sullinger, bro. What's he up to right now? I feel like he's playing in the Big Three or something. I'm not entirely sure. All right, let's look at the fan favorite set. Simbular, you can get him for like 1,000 MT. I mean, if you really want someone like Simbular, sure. He's a 7'5" non-shooting big with a huge player build. He's going to be able to bully inside and set extremely effective screens. If you were looking for a card and you didn't have Gold Shaq, who you should have for sure, he would be a worthy card to run in triple threat because he sets effective screens and grabs mad rebounds. But if you have Gold Shack, just use Gold Shack. It'll make your life a little bit easier. But Simbular is all right. If it wasn't for Gold Shack, I would say that Simbular is worth picking up right now. I don't see the reason to pick up Simbular. Justice Winslow is actually a sneaky good card. This card is really, really solid, especially if you're on the budget end of things. Like, you could do a lot where 6'6", catch and shoot, pickpocket, clamps, pick dodger, quick first step. Big player build as well. 6'6", which I really thought he was like, bigger. For some reason, I thought Justin Winslow was like 6'7", 6'8". I really thought this man was about to be the truth coming out of college. At the same time, Justice Winslow is relatively good. Like, he is probably the best extreme budget shooting guard in the game. Like, all together. We're talking about all encompassing everything. He's probably the best. Regardless of your budget, though, the Heat are going to be one of those teams that's going to be really difficult to fill out come Spotlight Sim time if we actually get one of those this year. So taking a prospective flyer on like a 2000 MT Justice Winslow is not a terrible idea. Thon Maker he may potentially be the most overrated card in this game. I will say that. Not to say that the card's not good, because people do get upset when I say a card is overrated, but I don't ever mean that the card is bad. I just mean that the card is overrated. And I will say that he's overrated for a variety of reasons. A, I think his jump shot is a little bit slow. Granted, he is kind of fast. And B, I don't think he moves the best, which is weird because he should move the best, but he doesn't for some reason. But that could just be a current gen thing or just a me thing because I suck. I don't know. You can make your own judgments on Thon Maker if you do pick up Thon Maker, but I just don't know if he's necessarily worth it when there's somebody who's just as good, if not better, for about a fraction of the price available in the same set. And that person is literally Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac is, I would say, just as good as Thon Maker, if not better. Due to his incredible defense, I feel like Jonathan Isaac's offense is not that far off from Thon Maker. Size-wise, they're not that different. It's an inch difference. And honestly, Thon Maker's player build does not look 7 foot tall. Like, it doesn't this year. He looks about the same size as Jonathan Isaac. I really don't think they look that different straight away. And Jonathan Isaac you can get for like 30k MT. Thon Maker's cheapest is like 65, 70. And I would say Jonathan Isaac, when you factor in the price, I would say Jonathan Isaac is better than Thon Maker for this price. Like, straight up. Jump shot 70 isn't exactly fast either, but I just think Jonathan Isaac is a little bit better. Caruso actually sneakily is one of the best budget point guards in the game too. Lockdown defender, relatively good size, pretty easy to time jump shot. He's really the complete package, like as far as a budget point guard. 6'4", but he looks bigger than that. He's like kind of like Oladipo, where he looks like he's like 6'6", but he's 6'4". I would say. I mean, he does have like Hoff sniper, quick first step. He dunks on everybody. He plays like very competent defense. He distributes the ball well. He's just not the greatest shooter. That's really the only difference. But he still comes with like gold limitless and stuff too. And like obviously he has Hoff sniper, so it's not like he's a bum on the shooting aspects. Like, he's good. He's missing a couple badges. Like, I don't think he has chef, and he doesn't have like rim protector and stuff. But realistically, the average player doesn't really need that stuff, especially on current gen. Blinders would be helpful. Clutch shooter, if he's your starting point guard, is obviously something you're going to need. But Caruso's fire. Then we got Cassie Russell. Cassie Russell is easily one of the best budget shooting guards in the game, no question. I would say that when we're talking about both gens, I think he's better than someone like a RJ Barrett or Cam Reddish, simply because he moves better. And I think for the average player, I would say that, I don't know, base 3 is kind of weird. I feel like on current gen, it's almost too fast sometimes, where it's like hard to time online. Some people may not agree with that sentiment. I personally do, but it could just be from my use of slow jump shots all year, because they just started giving cards quick and very quick jump shots consistently in the past month. So maybe that has something to do with it, or the fact that I didn't use Pink Diamond Cassie. That being said, Cassie Russell is fantastic. And if you're looking to improve in the shooting guard department and you don't have a whole lot of MT and you got about 15, 20 MT to 15, 20K MT to spare, Cassie's incredibly good for that price. I mean, he's arguably the best for that price. He's up a little bit from what he was, but you can get him for around 25, 30K, the absolute most. And even for that price, I would say he's worth that. No question. Then we got Kristaps, and I'll be completely honest with you guys. When I pulled Kristaps, I had every intention in the world to sell this card. I was like, you know what? I don't really like Kristaps like that. I'm going to go ahead and sell him. And then I played a couple games with him, and he's still on my team for a reason. This card is without a doubt one of the most dominant centers in this entire game. Not just on the offensive end, because he can move now too, which is terrifying. But on the defensive end, he's an absolute menace. He out-rebounds almost every card in the game for some reason, just because he's 7'3". Realistically, strength does not play as big of a part in this game as one would expect. Maybe on next gen it does, but on current gen it absolutely does not. Kristaps will out-rebound D-Rob with absolutely no problem, just because of his long, spindly tube sock arms. Like, it doesn't matter. This card is ridiculous. He's the best center in the game, and it's not even close, in my opinion. It's not. Um, yeah, he's so much better than Kareem. Then we got KD. I sold KD instantly. I'm not a big fan of KD cards. I mean, he's a top tier small forward for sure. Like, that's not really debatable, I would say. But at the same time, is he that much better than running, say, like a Jonathan Isaac for 30K? I mean, if you got the MT, sure, but it's not leveraging your entire team. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. Especially because KD will be fire for a while, but we'll get a bunch of small forwards over the next couple of weeks, so it doesn't really matter. Still good though. Takeover guys have calmed down in price a little bit. Like Glenn Rice, I guess, has calmed down. None of the dark matters have dropped in price due to this like little egg thing. They barely ever drop. I've seen people get them, but I really don't think they drop as often as people like are posting on Twitter. You know what I mean? Because you're only going to see the times people pull dark matters on Twitter. You're not seeing any of the other stuff. Now, there's also the Galaxy Opal pack from the exchange, and I've seen a bunch of different stuff in there. Nothing really too crazy. I don't think anyone's pulled Cade. Cards that I know for sure are in there, you can tell based on their price and how many there are. Like Zach LaVine is obviously in them, right? I believe Jokic is also in them too, as well. So you can get these guys for really cheap if you want. Melo is not in them. All you got to do is look for Galaxy Opals in the collection. And if there's the little line on the bottom that shows you how long you can scroll, if it's tiny, if it's like this big, chances are they were in the egg packs or the exchange. You know what I mean? You can kind of tell that already. Like there's a singular Paul George. I don't think he was in the egg packs, you know? AD was definitely in the egg packs because I bought this Anthony Davis for like, I believe 9K last night. So, you know, he was definitely in the egg packs, and I could sell him right now and make some MT. I probably will just keep him for my All Pelicans team, but you can come up on some of these cards that are, yes, outdated, but like definitely cool to have for relatively cheap. I mean, Giannis was under 100K. He's not worth picking up, I don't think personally, but like, you know, that's the first time I believe he's been under 100K. Zion's super cheap as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's super duper cheap. His dusty, dude. Luca was not in the packs, unfortunately. I was hoping to get a Luca for the All Mavs team. I just didn't want to pay for like the Dark Matter one since I won't use him anyway. None of those cards are in there. Some of the NBA 75 guys are in here. Bob Pettit is in here. You can get him for relatively cheap. And for like that 9K he's going for, he is a very, very good power forward for 9K. Straight up. He is. I was disappointed to see Big Wilt wasn't in there. And honestly, I was disappointed to see Bill Sharman not in there. I mean, his ass is 95 years old. Put him in there, dude. He has no stamina. He shouldn't even be alive. Like, my man smoked Kent cigarettes. I really don't think he was making it to 95. Maybe I'm incorrect about that. Maybe my man's out here at 95 years old. I don't know. Actually, I should probably look that up before I start talking. Elgin Baylor, I think, was in something because there's a bunch of Elgin Baylors out here. He's still, I would say he might be worth 30K, but it's hard to really say you should grab him when Cassie Russell exists, you know? I don't think any of the 70s guys were in the exchange. I think maybe Pete Maravich, but most people have him anyway. None of the other guys have fallen off in price at all. So it's hard to really say. I don't think any of the 90s guys, like even Robert Parrish wasn't in those packs. Remember when people were saying he was a top 10 center for a little bit? That's crazy. 2K has done that a lot this year where they've made just random guys like top 10s. Amari Stoudemire, once again, he's been in so many like giveaways and different locker codes and stuff, but he was in this set. I mean, if you're a stat guy and you want to like use him, you can pick him up for dirt cheap. Like, you know, opals go for 2,500 MT. We're going to be seeing opals for like 4,000 MT later this year. Calling it now. Unfortunately, Grant Hill wasn't in this set. I was really hoping he was going to be in the exchange as well, and Cat. Like, just guys like that would have been cool to see. I believe Anthony Edwards was in there too. So if you're watching the playoffs, you're feeling inspired, you want to hoop with Ant, you can do that now for a very little MT. Like, you can do that for like 15K. And is he worth 15K? I mean, I would still say he's like a high C tier shooting guard at this point. So 15K, I would say when Cassie Russell and RJ Barrett exist, he's probably not worth it. But if you're a big Anthony Edwards fan, sure, why not? Just might as well go pull the trigger while he's super cheap. It really doesn't matter. As always, it has been your boy Cheap Ludes. If you can, I would highly recommend going to do these lifetime agendas. Let me see if I can find these. I believe they're completed, right? Completed lifetime agendas. Yeah, the play-in tournament ones. You do get a really solid set of 3 players, and the challenges themselves are not very hard whatsoever. I mean, you can do the CJ McCollum one with a sapphire that's cheap, but the cards you get are actually pretty solid. Surprisingly, I did not expect this in any way, shape, or form. Like, I really didn't. I will be the first to say that. Were they an all-star? Where were they? Zero gravity. Where were these cards? I just saw them. Were they the moments? Yeah, okay, so playoff moments. So you get Bruce Brown, who's not very good, but if you ever needed Nets players to do Nets challenges, he's about the best we got. We have no Nets players that can play small forward, power forward besides KD. Patrick Beverly, who's not very good, but the Wolves don't really have a great history of point guards, so he might be the best you got for a little while if you have to do any type of Timberwolves-based challenges, unfortunately. Not usually a great sign when you have to rely upon Patrick Beverly, but, things happen. Herbert Jones, which every content creator in Sweatlord will tell you essentially is just free Kawhi Leonard, Herbert Jones is pretty okay, but I feel like people are going a little bananas on how good the card is. I feel like he's a pretty solid card. Like, his release jump shot 83 is okay, but I didn't really like it on his regular moments card. Yeah, he's got decent dribble moves, and yeah, he's got good badges, but like, he's a good defender, but I just don't think he's as good as people say. Truly, 6'7" at the small forward is just fine. I mean, maybe if you play the shooting guard, I think he's just fine. If you're doing a no money spent squad and like you need a small forward and you don't want to spend any MT, Herbert Jones is good. But I feel like people sometimes just kind of overvalue free cards. And I'm one of those people that wishes the free cards were as good as the cards that you can purchase off the marketplace. But that's rarely the case because 2K is a very monetized experience. You know what I mean? Trae Young's pretty cool. I mean, especially if you're like a Trae Young guy anyway, like you're getting a very, very good version of Trae Young, and he's not in packs. He's small, yes, but still a very, very competent scorer. He's still, out of all the cards in the game, is one of the best movement wise, especially on current gen. I think he moves incredibly well on current gen. I'm not too sure about next gen, but on current gen, I feel like his jump shot is so fast that it's almost unguardable at times, especially off screen. So something to think about. Have a good night, you guys. I'll be back with more content tomorrow. I'm feeling lazy, so I'm not going to drop anything else for the rest of the night. I'm just going to play and grind these eggs and see if I can get anything of note, which probably is not going to happen. Look, stay safe out there. If you guys are going out tonight, people are stupid and they're going to drive inebriated because they're fucking idiots. So, just watch out. Little PSA from your boy Ludes here. Peace.